This is going to be the first moto vlog slash test on my brand new 2017 Dyna Street Bob that shakes more than a fucking chihuahua. A little bit about me. Let's go into the physical part first. So if you correct me in the comments or anything else, you may not take it so hard on me. You might lube up a little bit before you start judging me. I've had 4 operations on my left shoulder. The last one was this year after a car accident last September where they had to sever my bicep tendon. I lost strength. I gained a little bit mobility than the other previous 3 operations I had. I want to say it took me 7 years to get back on the bike after my injury. I ripped the labrum in half. I completely detached it. I also tore up majority of my ligaments in my left shoulder. 3 very painful operations, years of therapy, 7 years I got back on a bike, I want to say. And then I was driving a car with my son, stopped at a stoplight, and somebody rear-ended me. My arm was locked on the steering wheel because I was reaching around, fully stopped, to hand my son his milk that he accidentally dropped. I couldn't move the car forward because there was a truck in front of me. And since my shoulder was locked and I was reaching, it jacked up my shoulder again, causing me to have a 4th operation and a 7 months leave of absence from riding motorcycles. The doctors told me, sell my bike, too bad, get over it, oh well. You can't control them as well. You're not going to be able to do much of anything with it. You'll have better movability because the bicep tendon is severed. I already have arthritis in my left shoulder, and I had limited mobility because the other operations, they put screws in and all the scar tissue and all that stuff. It jacked me up really good. I was told all 3 times, you're not going to ride. Don't even think about it. So my wife, a little over 2 years ago, got some money and she bought me a used 2005 Harley Davidson Sportster. Little puppy. She bought me a Harley Sportster 2005 883 low. It had 2,100 miles and it was $2,500. Came with an engine guard, windshield, helmet lock, security system. It was a steal. And my wife told me to stop being depressed, because I was pretty depressed, I'm going to be honest, because I went from being able to pick up cast iron bathtubs and walk with them to put them on dollies or take them off pallets to having to have her wash my hair. I couldn't use my left arm to wash my hair anymore. And I became very angry, very bitter. And my wife said, enough. I lost all of my other freedoms. I need to get my ass back on a bike. And I need to find something I can do. Yeah, a little physically challenged at times, depending on the bike. But something I could do. I could enjoy. I could do it by myself if I wanted to. Eventually, maybe, if all went well, I'd be able to have her on the back. And I took the MSA just to double check to make sure I could do it. I had this gorgeous blue Sportster. Couldn't ride it. She got me into the MSA, and I passed. I passed the written pretty much flawless. But what else? Took the MSA. I passed. Went and took the DMV. Passed it. And I started riding the Sportster. Very slowly at first. I had to work up in time I could ride, because it was harder on my shoulder. Excuse me. It was harder on my shoulder. It did hurt at times. And we did massage. I did therapy. And really nice therapist helped me, talked to me about it. The surgeon of mine helped me, talked to me about it, said I shouldn't. If I do it, I need to keep my arms in the strongest part I have, which is closer to my body. So I bought risers for the Sportster. The half-hour rides I could go on turned into an hour. Then I ended up riding from my hometown here, or not my original hometown, but where I live, Santa Rosa, to Davis, all on the back roads, and about 2.5 hours, and hung out for an hour with my son, who was doing a robotics competition. And I rode back non-stop, and I could do it. All of a sudden my whole world opened up again, and I felt empowered. I felt like I could accomplish shit. I had a place to vent. I had a place where I could do some, you know, riding a motorcycle. Some say isn't that physical, but it is. Especially when the strongest part of your arm is your right arm and the weakest is your left. So I have to compensate for it constantly. Depending on the road, how long I ride, my left arm does get weaker as I go. And it was a fabulous feeling being able to ride again. I loved it. And then I got hit in the car, stopped being able to ride. It hurt. I rode once after the accident, and it hurt so bad. I was just about in tears when I went to the doctor's appointment, and I wanted to see, can I do this? It's a 15-minute ride. Can I do this? I got there, they said, get rid of your bike. Don't bother. You're not going to do it again. So, got a little depressed again. Turn around, I got the operation, worked my ass off with therapy. They didn't want to do physical therapy with me per se in the office because I had done so many years. I should know what the hell to do. So I was kind of feeling a little abandoned, like no one wanted to help me except for my wife. And that was absolutely awesome. She got me motivated. She got me back up on the bike, and I ride, and it's fantastic. Some days I wake up and my arm's dead. I can hardly use it because it's still asleep from the pressure or whatever else. So it's good days and bad days. Some days my arm is really tired, like I can hardly use it, but I've just been adjusting. I adjusted the old bike the best I could to make it more workable for me. I thought a more stable bike would be better after the fact. So my neighbor was selling his bike, almost 80 years old, or he is 80 now. I bought it for his 80th birthday. He had been riding since the 60s. He's never laid a bike down, ever. And it was a 100th anniversary Fat Boy, all the extra trimmings for $10K. And I ended up getting a lot of extra parts. Barrels, rockers, all the internals for an engine, rocker covers, everything. Extra exhaust, extra wheels, fenders with it. I thought the Fat Boy, he was saying, would probably be really good for me. I test rode it. Felt pretty good. Felt more stable than the Sportster, like I could do it. And then went out for a longer ride, about an hour ride out to the coast, and I noticed, because the front tire is fatter on them, that it was starting to hurt when I'd have to push with my left arm, and it was more work to do it. So my arm was getting more tired, and I didn't realize this. So that being said, talked about giving that to my wife and just sticking with the Sportster, and kind of fell into my lap, the Dyna, and they said, if you love your Sportster, this is the next best thing. It's just as easy to control, a lot more power, a little bit more weight, and they're absolutely right. I love it. It's just a big brother to the Sportster. So I was supposed to ride down to the Southern California Motovlogger meetup on the Fat Boy. I got more worried the more I rode it about how I could ride that whole distance. And I ended up having a flare-up. I have something called diverticulitis. And I had a really nasty infection. I had to go on antibiotics for a week. I would have been off the antibiotics by like a week before the event. So I was thinking, yeah, I'd be fine, but the infection didn't go away, so they had to put me on 2 different antibiotics, stronger, made me sick, made me extremely sensitive to the sun, where I could burn. I'd get overly dehydrated. So my wife decided to drive down with me, which was absolutely fabulous. We hadn't taken a vacation or hadn't gone on a trip at all in the 10 years. So it was also right around our anniversary, 2 days before our anniversary. So that was awesome. We got to have a nice romantic time, meet a lot of great people. I'm gonna stop here and pick up in a moment.